Meanwhile, the latest out of Fort Knox, a.k.a. Patriot Place, is that New England will not be trading Jimmy Garoppolo, leaving quite a few NFL teams looking for a plan B, as Jimmy G continues to be the Pats' plan B. Monday morning quarterbacks, Peter King has high hopes for the Eastern Illinois alum. Here he is on Mike and Mike this morning.
I think that Belichick's whole point is I have a guy who, for the first time since I picked Tom Brady in 2000, I have a guy who I think can be the heir to Tom Brady and who can continue our Super Bowl run. People will laugh at this and they'll think, oh, it's utterly preposterous, but this is in the eye of the beholder. I would not be surprised if they think that he is Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre or Steve Young to Joe Montana.
All right, we know Peter King knows a thing or two about football, and he sees Garoppolo as Brady's successor. Max, we know how much you love Tom Brady and your little Cliff. Do you think Jimmy G will be the heir apparent to Brady?
It's possible. I'll say yes at the moment, but this move does not demonstrate that because Jimmy G doesn't have a new contract. I mean, what's the incentive to move him now? Because Bill Belichick knows about the cliff just like I do. You know why? He's smart. He has people and look at these kind of things. That's right. And in human history, 41's the cutoff. Maybe Tom Brady's the exception. The odds are against it, but let's say Tom Brady's the exception. But Belichick can't plan the future as though a long shot is what's more likely to happen. If Brady bucks the odds, great for the Patriots. But that's not the way Belichick and the Patriots can plan. Now, he didn't give Jimmy Garoppolo a new contract. Why not? Because this season, you don't know what's going to happen with Tom Brady for sure. And this season, Garoppolo is still cheap. So you have an inexpensive backup plan who may be the heir apparent. If you don't have a deal out there that you really like, you know, a high first-round pick plus sweeteners for a guy you took in the second round. It's not like you didn't invest resources and has studied up under Belichick and Tom Brady. If you don't have a good enough deal, why would you move him? Now, the heir apparent, yes. I like the Steve Young to Joe Montana analogy. Much better, actually, than Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre, because the fact is, the odds that Jimmy G will ever be Aaron Rodgers are slim to none. And the fact is also, Brett Favre was no Tom Brady, as great as Brett Favre was. So I like the Young to Montana analogy better. And the answer is, Belichick here is in a holding pattern saying, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy. But he's not saying definitely because there's no new contract.
Well, first of all, when you compare your level of intelligence to Bill Belichick, let's understand something here. You have the type of intelligence where you got to have that dictionary app on your phone or something like that so we can make sure we can keep up with you.
And
with Bill Belichick, he simply says nothing. He just goes out there and sends them out there to play football, okay? So let's make sure we understand the difference, okay, when you mention you and Bill Belichick in the same breath. Now let's get back to football.
Belichick is objective proof about how smart he is. You're right.
There we go. There we go. Here's the deal. This is the part that bothers me about this, Max Kellerman. I am appalled that anybody would sit out there and talk about Jimmy Garoppolo as Mollywood would say, Jimmy G.
Oh, stop hating.
I am disgusted that anybody would mention
stallion.
that in the same breath as they would mention Aaron Rodgers as the heir apparent to Brett Favre. Let's be clear. Let's understand the dichotomy that exists between the two scenarios. First of all, Aaron Rodgers was held back for years. Ain't nobody accusing Jimmy G of being held back. That's number one. Number two, Aaron Rodgers is better than Brett Favre was. Jimmy G has no chance in hell of being better than Tom Brady. That's just 2 points right there. That's just 2 points right there. Let's get that out the way. Number three.
The odds are against
when we talk about, the odds are against it. It ain't happening. Let's stop the nonsense. It's not happening, okay? I can be definitive with this. It ain't happening, all right? Number three, Jimmy G has thrown 94 passes in his entire career. This season, when he threw 33 against Arizona, 26 against Miami. Last time I checked, that comes up to 59. And then you got one pass against Cleveland, that's 60. And then you got two more against the Jets, that's 62. And then you got one more against Miami, that's 63. 94 minus 63 equals 31. So that means before this season, the man threw 31 passes in his career. And we're supposed to sit here and based on 2 games, we're supposed to talk about how he's the heir apparent to Tom Brady when Tom Brady is talking about being around for 5 more years. Here's what it comes down to. I would dare give Max Kellerman credit on this, y'all. Are you ready for this? I got to give my man Maximilian or Maximus or Max, whatever word, whatever name works for my man. I got to give him credit where credit is due. Maybe, just maybe, Bill Belichick has been listening to Max Kellerman. Maybe he's fearful that Tom Brady is going to fall off a cliff. And that's the reason why we're having this damn idiotic discussion, because Garoppolo is no heir apparent. I'm not going to say that a dude that played 2 games is the heir apparent to Tom Brady. I'm not sold.
I'll give you evidence.
I need to see more, and I don't think we're going to see more for a while because Tom Brady ain't going nowhere.
I'll give you evidence. I'll give you evidence. All the evaluators, I have yet to hear an evaluator look at Jimmy Garoppolo's game film and say, nah, not much. They all seem to be, it's pretty universal, that guy can play. 1, 2, the Patriots spent a 2nd-round pick on him. That's a hugely valuable resource, and everyone agrees they got it right. The Patriots don't often miss in the draft on picks like that, and everyone agrees they got it right. 3, he has held the clipboard now for Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, in the Patriot system, so he's been coached up and has learned by experience. 4, you mentioned the 2 games he started. He played well in both. They won both. The Cardinals, to start the season, incidentally, that game was on the road, were Super Bowl favorites by the lights of many, including Molly, who happens to know a lot about the NFL. So all the evidence points to the fact that Garoppolo was highly thought of as a prospect by the Patriots. He's been coached up by the Patriots. There have been results on the field. Everyone likes the game film. Is Belichick absolutely convinced that Garoppolo is the heir apparent and that Brady's going to fall off the cliff? No, or he'd have a new contract. But they like this kid, and they think maybe. That's what this tells me. Sorry, Molly.
Or does Bill Belichick just want to keep him for 1 more year on the cheap because he can? And it's the NFL, and somebody could go down at any time. And then they have a backup plan where they know they can actually win games.
And he thinks that's more important, Belichick, than a 1st-round pick, because that's what you can get for Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
Yeah, because a 1st-round pick's not a sure bet.
Y'all lucky we got a wrap, because I was about to get on both of y'all about something.
We do
but
have to wrap.
Stephanie, the real boss of the show,
Yes.
is in my ear telling us we got to go, so I'm going to let y'all off the hook.
Look at this progress we're making, listening to time cues. This is tremendous. Moving on, Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas squared off last night as IT4 took home the W. But who would you rather have on the team right now? Tough question. Plus, we haven't seen Johnny Manziel in a uniform since 2015. Does he have any chances left? We'll get into that in a little bit. Stay tuned.
Whether you embrace mine, I go crooked 2, 4 takes, that's you, 3 takes, not me, 2 takes if you lucky, 1st take, stop me, 4 takes, that's you, 3 takes, not me, 2 takes if you lucky, 1st take, you got me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into First Take on this Friday Eve. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Molly Karam here in Bristol. Your boys, Stephen A. and Max. There they are. Coming to us from New York. Hi, guys. How we feeling?
What's up? What's up?
What up, Molly?
What's up?
We had a game last night, gentlemen. You want to get into it?
Quite a game.
Why we here?
Quite a
Why we
game.
here?
Let's do it. How about those Celtics? Last night did not disappoint. 24 lead changes, including 10 in the 4th, as LeBron James tied his career high with his 7th triple-double of the season. But it wasn't enough. Boston outlasting Cleveland with Bill Belichick courtside. Isaiah Thomas is the first player with at least 3 30-point games versus Cleveland in a single season since both Dwayne Wade and Allen Iverson did it. That was back in the 05-06 season. The loss was Cleveland's first on the road this season when leading in the 4th. Stephen A. Smith, got a question for you. How legit a threat are the Celtics to the Cavs in the East?
Well, I think it's a legitimate threat. I think they can make things very, very interesting. I don't see a 5-game series, them getting blown away or what have you, because I think sometimes the Cleveland Cavaliers are relatively inconsistent. And what I mean by that is they'll look like gangbusters one game, and then they look like they fell asleep the next game. And Boston is just feisty. I'm still not ruling out the Washington Wizards or the Toronto Raptors, mind you, because they're legitimate threats. And again, with the Wizards being a 3 seed, you know, they got to fight with Boston, and that could zap a lot out of Boston if Boston were to win that series. I get all of that. But I guess what I'm saying is when I look at those two teams in particular, the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards, and I look at the way that they play and the way that they get up for the Cleveland Cavaliers, you know you're the prohibitive underdog going up against LeBron James in a playoff series if you're a team within the Eastern Conference. And unlike most other teams, with these two teams, it seems to get them going. They seem to elevate their level of play to another level. Isaiah Thomas is a bona fide, legitimate league MVP candidate. He's an absolute stud. Marcus Smart, I mean, this dude, he scares the living hell out of you when he's on the court because he's so adroit at drawing offensive fouls. Nobody, I don't know anybody in the league right now who's better than him at that. I think he's drawing more offensive fouls than the rest of his entire team. Avery Bradley is one of the best defenders in basketball when healthy on that basketball court. He's just a special defender. And I can't say enough about Brad Stevens and how he could coach. Max, I'm willing to go as far as to say this. I believe two things. Number one, this would be a 7-game series potentially if they faced each other in a conference finals. Obviously, I'm still going to favor Cleveland, but I think it would be a 7-game series, A. And B, Max, I'd go as far as to question whether or not Kevin Durant was right in going to Golden State instead of Boston because of what I'm seeing in that regard. Go ahead.
Well, first, just quickly about Durant, I thought Boston was a great spot for Kevin Durant. Yeah. It's too bad he didn't go there. And had he gone to Boston, in fact, they may be the favorites over the Cavs right now. But the fact is he didn't go to Boston, and consequently, Boston is not a threat to the Cavs in the East, barring catastrophic injury, of course, to a pivotal player on the Cavs, especially, obviously, LeBron James. But they're not, in fact. They're a player away, and that player, Kevin Durant would have been really nice, Paul George, Gordon Hayward, Jimmy Butler, someone like that. It's not just that they're a player away and it has to be a nice rotation piece. They're a star player away. Let's look at what just happened last night in a terrific game. And by the way, let me just say, I like the fact that the Eastern Conference is chippy again. Not just good at the top with those 4 teams, Toronto, obviously, and Washington and Boston and Cleveland, but chippy. You know, it's more physical, it looks like, than the West, like it used to be. That's fun to see. That's the character of the conference. It always has been. But when you look at what happened yesterday, Boston health and wealth, Stephen A.
Thank you.
Boston playing at home. Cavs on the road. Cavs without Kevin Love, without J.R. Smith, trying to integrate a brand new piece in Darren Williams, who, by the way, takes the last shot. Should he have taken the shot? I mean, yes, but still, maybe there's a little more easy integration there in terms of the way they play. With all those factors working against the Cavs, it was an amazing game, came down to the wire, and the Celtics barely won. The Celtics